Welcome to Live Forever Young Radio. I am Raleigh Culp, as here with Bob as usual. How's it going, Bob?
Good, Raleigh. Good. How about yourself?
Good. Just getting ready to talk about some good new stuff we heard for the new year. Some exciting new things, some new trends, if you will, in the health and wellness space. And excited to hear about what they are and maybe about what benefits we can get and expect for our health in the upcoming year. So I'm ready to dive into that with you, ready to say hello to everybody. It's been a week. We took off last week, so sorry about that. But we're back now.
Yeah. So, Raleigh, trends for 2024, some of the ones that are being published that we found in articles like that are things that have already been going on, but they expect to see more of it in 2024.
Right.
They do this all with surveys and that type of thing to see, really what good information can be passed on to consumers that can now benefit from, all right, these certain things have worked well enough that now many people are doing it. Companies are investing in it. And
it's kind of like when you make a new electronic and you test it out and the ones blow up in the pockets and then they finally get it perfected and now we can release it to more people.
Yeah, and some of the technology for health and wellness is actually electronics.
Right.
So one of the main things is continuous diagnostics. So people can wear watches that are constantly monitoring vital signs and other things.
I also noticed my dad's a diabetic and he's been using the sensor, I think it is. You put it on here and it tells you your glucose and it tells you it's time to, and he also has a pump now. So that's very helpful at helping him regulate diabetes because his pancreas doesn't make any insulin. He's a type 1. So when it's time, you just hit the button and this thing will give you a little message to your cell phone. Hey, here's where you're at. You might want to hit the button.
Two pumps.
2 pumps, please, whatever it is.
Yep.
And so it's like those type of things have been around for a while, but I've noticed my dad's kind of had them since their inception, I guess. And the earlier ones weren't as easy to use. It wasn't quite as simple to just hit 2. But now it's right away. You get the feedback, and it can help, especially for people who are really trying to mitigate the symptoms that can come from diabetes. Because you can control the symptoms of diabetes and live very healthily.
Yeah. And so checking blood sugar continuously is obviously a great breakthrough. And will be more and more people will be using it. It'll become even better, more precise, simpler. One of the things that we just saw was there was a complaint or a lawsuit filed against Apple for their Apple Watch. They were using a patented technology, I think it was for checking pulse ox, so your oxygen level.
I heard about that on the news, yeah.
And so they had to kind of take that part of the software out while they settle this or license it or whatever. But that if somebody is suing somebody else for a patent infringement, that is probably a pretty valuable thing.
Exactly.
So the other is that we saw is people that use nutrition products, which is half the country at least. It seems like every year or every 6 months, a new breakthrough happens, and now you have to add a couple more pills to your pill box for every day.
Right.
And now people's pill boxes are overflowing. They've got too many things. And so you're starting to see more and more companies switch to powders, where they're combining multiple things together. You can mix it in water and drink it. And ever since we first started Boomers Forever Young, we've been using powders.
Yes.
So we already had the Boomer Boost product that we have 68 different nutrients in one powder.
Right.
And we also have the sprouted barley seeds, which has to be in a separate powder. And for various reasons about safety, because you have to ease into that barley very slowly and carefully. It's so strong.
Yeah, it's a powerful detoxifier. It has a lot of SOD in it, which is a very powerful anti-inflammatory and reduces inflammation. And it also cleanses everything in your body. And a lot of that gets passed through our wastes And so if you flood, like, say, your liver or your kidneys with that stuff, it can cause you to feel yucky. So you have to slowly ease into it a week at a time by slightly increasing. And by doing that, you can avoid having what they call, like, like a reaction to the detoxification. A lot of people who do detoxes will know what I mean. But
Yeah.
if you've never done one,
Yeah.
that's what you have to be careful of.
So you're going to see this, trend towards powders that we've been doing for 13 years already. And the other one that's really big is the importance of maintaining your muscle.
Mhm.
And we've talked about that before on these programs, but you see very well-known podcasters with very large followings, millions of people watching their podcasts, people like Peter Attia and Dr. Huberman from Huberman Lab.
Huberman Labs.
There's now even a podcast called Muscle Intelligence that lots of people are watching.
Yeah, and I mean, we've even had our resident scientist, Eric Kurtz, on for an interview,
Yep.
who's working on our muscle product, Myotrol.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen that, that's actually one of our more recent podcasts that we
Mhm.
published. And you can get some information and some insight into how important the maintenance of muscle is, because, I mean, as you get older, you start losing it. And that's inevitable.
And you age basically at the rate that you're losing muscle along with the rate that you're burning yourself up. So we know that by helping people reduce their inflammation and increase their muscle, you can go a long way towards helping someone live a longer, healthier life.
Right, that biological age that we talk about, reducing that biological age so you can live a more fulfilled and healthy life.
Yep. Probably another really big one that was talked about a lot is the whole concept of resilience.
Mhm.
Resilience is something necessary in this day and age because there's so much news that's negative. You have wars going on and other things. You have an election year, which is already heating up and creating lots of tension. And people need to be able to bounce back from that kind of stuff quickly, or they have residual stress that ages them too fast and makes them sick. So we know from making the podcast called Finding Your Inner Balance, that the best thing for resilience is to get yourself an inner balance device from the HeartMath company. And Raleigh, you and I have both been able to use those before. And
they're easy. They hook right up to your phone. Then you put the little sensor to your ear and hook the other part to your lapel. And they talk through Bluetooth, and it monitors your rate, your heart. It's your
heart rate variability.
Your heart rate variability. Thank you. I didn't know the term.
And so, if you want to find that, in our podcast, find Finding Your Inner Balance.
Yeah, here, let me put it up on this. If you go to boomerboost.com for more podcasts, go to the search little magnifying glass and just type in inner balance.
Yeah,
and it'll bring you right to the it's a blog post of our podcast with it's got all the information typed out. It also has the video that you can watch right there. So check that out, because to be honest with you, one of the things that it really helps with is gratitude, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the main things that you're supposed to focus on while you use the HeartMath app program is the gratitude that you have to be thankful for, and to actually try to live in that. Because the more you can live in gratitude, the better not only your health will be, but your whole attitude,
Yeah, absolutely. Another big trend that we saw is people focusing more on their skincare through nutrition.
Yes, actually, we did.
Skin from within, so to speak. Now, going back, this trend actually started back in about 1993. There was a skincare company called Nu Skin, and they ended up having to close Nu Skin temporarily for issues they had with the government. And what they did was they then came out with a nutrition company called Interior Design Nutritionals that came about back in the 90s. And a lot of it was skin from within. What does your skin need? And we have had from time to time a skin from within combo pack that we had put together that people were able to get.
Oh yeah, it's still available. Sometimes we run specials on it, I think is what you mean. Right now you could get it, and what it is actually we did some research on it, and it's got collagen peptides in it, which actually are buy one, get one half off right now at boomerboost.com. But it has collagen peptides, our heirloom barley, which is a different version of that, but the sprouted barley, and then vitamin C, right? And those things, all those things actually provide really more than what you need, but the perfect combination to synthesize the collagen and actually change it into what it needs to be changed to in order
into
to
the
utilize.
proteins, and
There you go.
at the same time it reduces your inflammation.
Right, because of the barley.
Yeah.
And so it helps you rebuild a lot faster.
Yeah, so that was another big trend. And here's a couple others were just in regard to functional medicine, what we call functional medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Functional medicine is a little different than going to the doctor because you feel sick, or going to the doctor because you've got a pain somewhere or whatever it is. That's usually when people go to the doctor.
Right.
Now, doctors encourage you to have an annual checkup. A very small percentage of people actually do that. So they never get to have this annual checkup to create any type of preventive strategy, because they only go to the doctor if they get sick. And the doctor treats that sickness, and that's the end. A doctor that specializes in functional medicine has a requirement that their patients participate in preventive and proactive versus reactive care.
Gotcha.
And so when you go to a functional medicine specialist, they will spend a lot of time with you at the beginning, talking with you about your life, your habits, your traumas, and your preferences. They will do a broad spectrum analysis of your blood, your saliva, may even look at a stool sample to analyze your microbiome in your large intestine.
Mm-hmm.
And they may even go as far as to do a complete nutrient profile of your blood to see if you are low in something like magnesium or phosphatidylcholine, whatever it is.
Gotcha.
And then they can prescribe specific interventions. And that's what functional medicine is about. So they're seeing a trend for more people using it.
It's just basically like the whole body approach to it, instead of just looking at the one. A lot of doctors look at the one pathway or the one symptom. It's kind of like a review of your health in total, including all the blood, saliva tests, all the trauma talk. That's a really, in my opinion, a much more complete way to look at someone's health. And not everybody also don't know how expensive they are. Sometimes you can't afford that. Sometimes the insurance doesn't cover it. So it's good to be proactive on your own health. There's lots of information. If we can find this stuff, you guys can find this stuff. There's lots of information that you can go online and find. You can go to boomerboost.com. You can find our podcast there. A lot of those will point you in the right direction as well to find more information. So a lot of it is about educating yourself, right? If you don't educate yourself, you suffer the consequences. So
part of that, Raleigh, I'm going to experience next week. Part of functional medicine is a baseline brain scan. So I'm going next week to a brand new center that's just opening up next week. It's about 15 blocks away from our office. And it's a company that specializes in neurobiofeedback.
We've talked about that a lot. We've talked about CTE, tau entanglements, people who have had multiple concussions, strokes, seizures, damage, traumas, car accidents, head traumas, all these things. They mess with the way that the brain talks to itself.
Yeah, it alters your brain waves. So
there you go.
In all the different sections of your brain, there is a particular waveform that's predominant. Some are in beta, some are in high beta, some are actually in gamma, some are in theta, delta, alpha, and there's a protocol for what each section of your brain is supposed to be vibrating in. And if you have a trauma, a stroke, an accident, sections of your brain get altered as a result, and the brain wave is no longer what it's supposed to be. So the diagnosis is they put electrode sensors on your head,
Mm.
and it shows up on the computer screen where what each area of your brain is vibrating in,
Nice.
what the brain wave
A
is.
readout on the screen.
Yeah.
Something someone could visually understand.
So they then will identify against protocol what the deficits are that you have.
Mm.
Hey, this area of your brain right here is vibrating like this. If we can alter the wave to this, your memory will improve.
Nice.
If we alter this, your brain fog will diminish.
That's
And it's been around since the 60s, but became more prevalent in the 90s
Mhm.
when some famous athletes, Boomer Esiason and others, that I can't mention their names, who had severe concussions, were
Mhm.
able to make complete recoveries almost instantly from this technology.
Mm.
And apparently, there is a Netflix special called The Quarterbacks,
Mm.
football players.
Yes.
And in episode 4, I haven't seen it yet, Kirk Cousins and his wife are talking about neurobiofeedback and how much it's helped them in their life.
Yeah.
So this is part of functional medicine, and we'll tell you more about it, and we will bring the founder of these brainwave centers. There's about 30 of them around the country that she started with business associates. And
What's her name? Do you know?
her name is Melissa Herbert.
Herbert.
Right?
Okay.
Does that ring a bell?
I believe that's, yeah, because I remember you had mentioned yesterday on the phone when we were talking about her, and I believe that was it. And
Yeah.
I reached out to her. I just wanted to make sure
Yeah, I just met her yesterday.
that it was the same person.
Yeah, just met her yesterday. And so that's part of functional medicine as well. Another big trend that's getting more and more probably is smartphone apps.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the big ones is utilizing AI. So again, yesterday I spoke to a man on the phone who is a coach, and he has a company of coaches that help people with their work life and their personal life to help them to better manage the combination of the two and to run their businesses more effectively. And what they found is that when they took the recordings of all of their coaches over the last 2 years, they had 170,000 coaching calls. And they were able to take the questions and answers and put them into a digital database, and AI delivers it. And now you can sign up for coaching from a bot. And it's a big trend where now a person can sign up on this website, go in and say, I want to be part of the coaching bot. And you can speak in questions, you can type in questions, and the bot will give you the best answer from all of those 170,000 coaching calls.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so also just general health and wellness, they're developing bots like that now where you can go in, and you can do this with ChatGPT right away now. But as time goes by, they'll get better and better and better. And people will be able to ask the bot instead of ask the doctor. They'll be able to ask the bot.
Yeah,
The bot will ask you questions for clarification, and you'll answer, and they'll go and go, it's likely this. And you can take now that printout or that recording of the answer, and when you go to your doctor or call your doctor, you can say, I did it with this specific bot that's approved by the American Medical Association. This is what came out. Boom, I did all that work already. Here's what it said. And what do you think?
There you go.
Yeah.
I heard a little bit about they were developing a test through AI for cancer to see if you had it, or it could help predict whether or not you were going to get it, something like that. And it's like, wow, okay. That's moving pretty quickly with this AI
Yeah.
thing, you know?
Yeah, they say between now and the next 3 years, the AI is going to continue to advance and advance and advance, and it will become very, very commonplace for these types of things.
Interesting. Interesting.
The other one, Raleigh, is the concept of regenerative medicine.
Mhm.
So people will age and they get, as the Brits say, crumbly.
Right.
And people will get into an accident.
Mhm.
People will have a stroke.
People will fall.
People will fall. And they need to regenerate themselves, regenerate their bodies. And you can do it as a reaction to a sentinel event, or you can do it proactively to avoid sentinel events. So, a good example is if you're unsteady on your feet because you've got a really bad knee and you've got a bad back, and every time you stand up, you get a sharp pain and it could cause you to fall.
Mm.
So, what is regenerative medicine going to do for you? Well, you need compounds that help you to heal those things and regenerate them to a state where you were before you had these injuries or repetitive stress issues. So, you can get an injection of stem cells that are your own stem cells, your platelet rich plasma
Mhm.
with exosomes added in that they can inject into your knee, and it will create regeneration of the tissue,
Nice.
and it can be extremely helpful. The other thing is with issues with a bad back. So many millions of people have bad backs.
Mhm.
Oh, my back is sore today, and it drags you down. You don't feel like doing anything. Worst case scenario, you can't get out of bed for 2 or 3 days. It happens every couple months. Bad news. Well, there's numerous new things you can do for a bad back like that. There are stem cell injections that they make right into your spine to
Right.
regenerate discs. You also can get injections of a peptide called peptide 150. And these new discoveries in the field of regenerative medicine are healing people that could never be healed before, going back just a few years ago. These are brand new technologies that are trending in 2024 to be more and more prevalent.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the technology making it easier, more accessible to people as well. Because, like you had said, we've been doing powders for 12 years or 13 years,
Yeah.
and we always knew that it's pretty much one of the best ways not only to take them to get as many as you need, but for the body to absorb and utilize them in a way that'll actually be beneficial, therapeutic even. And the same thing with the barley. To get something like SOD, which is a very unstable antioxidant. It's got a very short half life. So when you actually somehow find a place to harvest it from, which is very difficult, and then you try to get it to someone to take as a supplement, if it's not stabilized correctly, then it's not going to actually do much. Because by the time it gets to you, there's no good stuff left, if you will,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term. And then you're taking something that you expect to help with inflammation and you don't get the results. So, major breakthrough that, how many years ago did we find this barley?
About 14 years.
A major breakthrough like this that most people don't know about is the sprouting of barley, right? It's very difficult to do accurately. You sprout them in many environments and they're at different enzyme profiles, but we have a gentleman who creates this barley that's able to sprout these seeds so precisely that the nutrient profile and the protein profile is perfect for humans. And then by sprouting them and then quickly stabilizing them, all the good stuff that the sprouting creates ends up giving you a superfood powder that you can't really get anywhere else. Because when you think about a sprouting, all the enzymes needed and everything needed to create life is right in there, right? And so when you can get that into the hands of someone and stabilize it with a process that makes the SOD last longer and the 4,000 different compounds and nutrients that are in there and all the different things that are in there that can help cleanse and build muscle. That's like otherworldly to be able to do that. And it's because people don't have access. They don't know about it. The technology isn't there. Many people you tell, really, you can't, I can't, you can't sprout seeds that accurately. Well, as the
Yeah.
technology grows, these breakthroughs become reality, or
Yeah.
these things become reality, and they're the breakthroughs that we're talking about,
Yep.
So,
Probably the last part is the whole issue of gut health. So people have talked about that for a long time. People have been taking probiotics, and there's a lot more to the whole metabolism aspect of your life than just gut health.
mhm.
What we know is that there are a lot of people that, even if they take good probiotics, they get a minimal benefit from it
Mhm.
for a couple of reasons. One is they're not taking the right fiber in. Probiotics have to have fiber to interact with in order to create the metabolites that are actually beneficial for all of your metabolism.
Yeah. So the whole reason why, real quick, the whole reason why you try to take probiotics is to give your gut a favorable environment to create what we call metabolites. What everyone
Yeah,
calls metabolites are the action, the
yeah,
things that help your body create connections and actions, and they can only be created in the gut.
yeah. Certain ones only created in the gut. So what we did, and it's in a powder again, is our scientist in Canada creates a special probiotic powder for us where he takes our sprouted barley seeds, puts it in a vat with a special mineral water. They add the bacterial cultures and they let it ferment for 90 days. And in that process, the metabolites that normally would be created in your colon
That are normally only created in your gut.
exactly are now created in this vat. He then dries it out, stabilizes it, and puts it into, grinds it up into a fine powder, sends it to us in these little jars with a little scoop. And you take now, you have done for you metabolites. People that do not have a colon that has been removed, people that have part of their colon removed, people that have disease in their colon, makes it hard to create metabolites, now can have those metabolites because they get absorbed in your small intestine,
Right.
and which is left intact even if people have a complete removal of their colon from disease or damage.
Mhm.
They can now absorb these metabolites. The gladiator barley itself attends to the absorption capability in the small intestine by cleansing the villi that absorb the nutrients and restoring them. So, part of regenerative medicine is to know that as we age, the absorption of nutrients diminishes because the little villi get coated over with a plaque. And the compounds in the barley will dissolve that plaque, move it out of the body, and regrow those little villi. And this is an extremely important aspect of regenerative medicine and gut health because this is where you absorb your nutrients.
Right.
So and in addition to that, gut health actually starts in your mouth. Your mouth has bacteria, a lot of bacteria in your mouth, some of it good, some of it not so good. People will get gum disease from bad bacteria in their mouth, which has a detrimental effect on their whole body, including their heart muscle.
Mm.
A lot of people with heart disease is being caused by bacteria in their mouth.
Mhm.
So now you can know from functional medicine how to take care of your mouth with using oil pulling with coconut oil. You can even do it with castor oil.
Mhm.
And you swish the oil around in your mouth and it draws bacteria out of your gums, spit it out, rinse really well. And there's now a pill you can take that is comprised of the good bacteria that you want in your mouth.
Mm.
So it's from a company called Prodentum. And you take this pill, put it in your mouth. It dissolves over the course of about 5 minutes. And while it's dissolving, you swish your saliva around in your mouth and coat your whole mouth with good bacteria.
Mm.
And this is part of gut health because your alimentary canal, goes from your mouth all the way down.
All the way down.
And when people talk about gut health, really what's important is the entirety of the alimentary canal. And when you swallow that solution that's created by the pill you're swallowing, it goes into your stomach, it has a positive effect on your stomach as well, and on your small intestine.
Nice.
So very effective new trend. This just came out, I would say, less than 2 years ago, and more this is going to become popular.
Nice.
The other thing that's real important, Raleigh, because the idea by taking good nutrients is to get it into your blood plasma, have it absorbed, have it circulated, and have it cross over into your cells so it can be used for energy, fuel, nutrients,
Right.
and contribute to metabolism. So once you use the done-for-you metabolites, the Gladiator barley, the Boomer Boost product, and other things, now if you have good absorption, because your villi have been cleansed and you have good circulation, you now have a chance to become super healthy. So the circulation is a very, very important aspect, because if you have poor circulation, you can have lots of good nutrients in your blood plasma, but if it's not being circulated properly, it doesn't help.
Right.
So in the Boomer Boost, there is phosphatidylcholine, arginine that helps with circulation. And also we are also able to help people get what's called a circulation mat that you can lie on. And we have a whole podcast that relates to that we did with Ann Harrison, who's an expert on this.
Stem cells need nutrition too, because it talks about how you have to have good circulation in order to circulate. So not only nutrients, but stem cells, right? So like Bob was saying, you could take all the nutrients in the world, but if you can't absorb them, then you're not going to utilize them. Now, utilizing them, if you can absorb them, requires that you have good circulation, blood flow, oxygen levels, so that way when they do get to the cell, they can get in that cell and create the energy, the ATP, help with mitochondrial function, which many of the diseases that we see that are chronic diseases and fatal diseases are because of mitochondrial dysfunction. That's another thing.
And a lot of it that dysfunction caused by inflammation.
Exactly.
So back to the functional medicine, a lot of what can cause damage to the mitochondria is if you have high iron. So the functional medicine doctors know the sweet spot for how much iron you want, and they will help to make sure that you don't have too much iron, which is then damaging your mitochondria, or too little iron.
Too little as well.
Yeah. So that's if people want to know more about the circulation mat, they can call us. If you want to know how to improve your absorption, you can call us. If you want to know how to do any of the things that we're talking about here today, which powders to get for you. It'll save you a lot of these pills you might be taking.
Yeah, one of the things too that is really important is getting foundational nutrition, and that's what our products do, right? If you don't have a good foundation, you can't build a house. Or I mean, you could build it, but then it'll fall down. So the idea of having all the nutrients you need, the good fats, the micro, macronutrients, amino acids, proteins, things for gut health, and having them in a powder form you can take all together. It actually, instead of 40, 50 different bottles of pills, did I take that there? Blah, 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 blah. You can have a pretty concise regimen of these things and take them every day. That's part of it too. It won't work unless you take them.
And you'll feel more energy. You'll feel like exercising.
Better digestion.
All the benefits of exercise too.
I can tell you from personal experience, digestion is much improved. Much improved. Very important, because that's where all the absorption and utilization comes from, digesting food well. Anyway, my tangent's over.
Excellent, Raleigh. Well, Raleigh, thank you very much.
Thanks
everybody for watching here on Live Forever Young Radio Live. See you on the next show.
See you guys.